So ipagpatuloy natin ang ating pag-aaral dito pa rin sa Book of Acts. So continuation, nandito na po tayo sa Acts 12:1 to 24. Ito na may patungkol sa persecution rekindled at Jerusalem. Herod persecutes Messiah's followers. Ayan po yung issue na pag-uusapan natin dito sa Acts chapter 12 verses 1 to 24. Kung bakit natin kailangang unawain ang mga katuruan dito sa Book of Acts. Kung mapapansin nyo, mayroon ng changes. Dito tayo na sa chapter 12. May mga changes na po tayong makikita na yung programa ng kingdom ay unti-unting nagbago at napapalitan ng grace program. Magkaiba kasi ang kingdom program sa grace program. So sa puntong ito na mapapansin natin, unti-unting nagbabago yung programa ng ating Panginoon para sa Israel at mayroong panibagong programa, itong ang Dispensation of Grace. Ang Dispensation of Grace, ito po inirevealed ng ating Panginoon kay Apostol Pablo sa Ephesians chapter 3. Ephesians chapter 3 verses 1 to 4. For this cause I, Paul, the prisoner of Jesus Christ, for you Gentiles, if ye have heard of the dispensation of the grace of God, which is given me to you word, how that by revelation he made known unto me the mystery, as I wrote afore in few words, whereby, when ye read, ye may understand my knowledge in the mystery of Christ. And then in verse 9 to 10, and to make all men see what is the fellowship of the mystery, which from the beginning of the world hath been hid. Ito po from the beginning of the world hath been hid in God, who created all things by Jesus Christ, to the intent that now unto the principalities and powers in heavenly places might be known by the church the manifold wisdom of God. So dito po makikita natin na ang dispensation of the grace of God ay ipinagkatiwala ng ating Panginoon kay Apostol Pablo. So ulitin ko po, ang dispensation of the grace of God ay ipinagkatiwala ng ating Panginoon kay Apostol Pablo. Kaya nga sa verse 1 sa binasa natin sa chapter 3 ng Ephesians, for this cause I, Paul, the prisoner of Jesus Christ, for you Gentiles. Then sa verse 2, if ye have heard of the dispensation of the grace of God, which is given me. Kanino po ipinagkatiwala, ibinigay, inilathala ang dispensation of grace? Kay Apostol Pablo. Sa kanya po ipinagkatiwala ang mystery. Ang mystery. Kaya sabi niya sa verse 3, how that by revelation he made known unto me the mystery. Ang dispensation of grace, ito po yung mystery before the conversion of Paul. Ang dispensation of grace, ito po ay mystery before the conversion of Paul. Dahil sa kanya po ipinagkatiwala, ipinagkaloob ang hiwaga. At dito nga sa verse 9, kung balikan natin, from the beginning of the world hath been hid in God. So from the beginning of the world, ang dispensation of grace ay nakatago, hid in God. From the beginning of the world hath been hid in God. Ano po yung nakatago? From the beginning of the world, dispensation of grace. Nung hindi pa tinawag si Apostol Pablo, ang dispensation of grace ay mystery. Nung hindi pa na-convert itong si Apostol Pablo, ang dispensation of grace ay mystery. Bakit mystery? Dahil hindi pa nga na-convert itong si Apostol Pablo na siyang pinagkatiwalaan. Idagdag natin ang Colossians chapter 1 verse 25 to 27. Whereof I am made a minister according to the dispensation of God which is given to me, for you to fulfill the word of God, even the mystery which hath been hid. Ulitin ko ha, even the mystery which hath been hid from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest. But now is made manifest to his saints, to whom God would make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles, which is Christ in you, the hope of glory. So, mayroong isang programang nakatago na nung simulang likhain ang sanlibutan ay hindi pa inirevealed. From the foundation of the world ay hindi pa naunawaan, hindi nila nakita ng mga propeta. Dahil ito po'y inirevealed lang ng ating Panginoon kay Apostol Pablo. Isang programang nakatago bago palikhain ang sanlibutan. Ito nga po yung dispensation of grace, dispensations of the grace of God na ibinigay ng Panginoon kay Apostol Pablo. So, sa madaling salita, nung wala pa si Apostol Pablo, ang programa na nag-operate ay ang prophetic program. Ang prophetic program, ito po ay since the world. Kumbaga, from the foundation of the world, magkaiba po ang before the world began at saka from the world began or from the foundation of the world. Gusto kong basahin itong yung sa Acts chapter 3. Since the world began. Sa verse 21, chapter 3 ng Acts, whom the heaven must receive until the times of restitutions of all things, which God hath spoken by the mouth of all his holy prophets since the world began. Pag sinasabing since the world began, isang programa since the world began. Isang programa from the foundation of the world. Ano pong programa na from the foundation of the world? Ito po yung kingdom program. Ito po yung prophetic program. Dito sa Matthew 25:34, then shall the king say unto them on his right hand, Come, ye blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. So ulitin ko ha, mayroong programa from the foundation of the world, programa since the world began. Ito po yung prophetic program or kingdom program. Ibang programa ang inirebuild ng ating Panginoon kay Pablo. Bakit? Dahil itong programa na inirebuild ng Panginoon kay Apostol Pablo ay secret, hid from the foundation of the world. Ito po'y nakatago na programa. Idagdag natin yung Romans 16:25. Now to him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel, and the preaching of Jesus Christ according to the revelation of the mystery, which was kept secret since the world began. A mystery, a revelation of the mystery which was kept secret since the world began. Anong sabi? May isang programa na nakatago before the world began or kept secret since the world began, at mayroong programa na nag-start from the foundation of the world or since the world began. So yung programa since the world began, yan po yung programa ng propesiya. Yan po ang programa ng kingdom, programa under the earthly program, na kung saan ang mga kasama doon ay ang mga propeta, mga apostles, at yung iba pang mga naniniwala sa earthly program, naniniwala sa kingdom gospel. Ibig sabihin po, mayroong group of believers na maninirahan dito sa lupa forever. Mayroong group of people na maninirahan dito sa lupa. Kaya yan yung dahilan na ang Panginoon ay nag-create ng panibagong lupa. God created new earth and new Jerusalem. Yan po ay i-establish dito sa lupa at forever na po yun. At ang Panginoon naman ay nag-create ng new heaven. Ang new heaven ay intended para sa mga believers na para sa langit. Mayroong group of believers na papuntang langit, mayroong group of believers na maninirahan dito sa lupa. Ang mga believers na pupunta sa langit, ang mga believers ngayon naniniwala sa ebanghelyo na ipinapangaral ni Apostol Pablo. Bakit po? Dahil ang dispensation of grace na ipinagkatiwala ng Panginoon kay Apostol Pablo ay isang programang patungkol sa langit. Ang new program na inirebuild ng ating Panginoon kay Pablo ay isang programang para sa langit. Ito po yung program before the world began. Ito po yung program hid from the foundation of the world. At kanino inirebuild ang programang ito? Kay Apostle Paul. Kaya lahat ng ipinapangaral ni Apostol Pablo na mga katuruan, at kung ito'y paniniwalaan, ang tao na yon ay pupunta sa langit. Paano kung i-reject niya ang mensahe? Paano kung i-reject ng tao ang mensahe na dapat paniniwalaan sa panahon ngayon? The message of grace. The gospel of grace. Siya ba ay makakapunta sa langit ayon sa ipinangako ng Panginoon? Hindi. Dahil ang kaligtasan po sa panahon ngayon ay dapat paniniwalaan ang gospel of the grace of God. Ano yung content ng gospel of the grace of God? Yung ginawa ni Kristo sa cross, Christ finished work. Ulitin ko po bago na-convert si Pablo, ang dispensation of grace ay mystery, hidden, secret. At nung na-convert si Pablo, at sa kanya inirevealed, so nabuksan ang isang panibagong program, at yung kingdom program ay nag-stop naman. So, nung na-open ang panibagong programa, ang kingdom program ay nag-stop din. Hindi pwedeng sabay. Kaya sa panahon ngayon, isang program lang ang nag-operate. Ang grace program. Ang prophetic program, ang kingdom program sa ngayon ay nag-stop. Kaya huwag kayong maniniwala doon sa mga pananakot, naririnig, napapanood, na dahil may mga na napapakinggang lindol o ano man dyan, ikinukonek nila sa Bible. Huwag kayong maniwala doon. Hindi po totoo yun. Hindi related sa Bible ang nangyayari sa panahon ngayon. Ang sinasabi ng Biblia na mangyayari, ito po'y sa during the Great Tribulation. During the 7 years Great Tribulation. At kung babasahin niyo po yung Book of Revelation, yung description ng earthquake ay napakatindi po. Na yung bundok kayang hatiin. At saka pwede pang maging patag ang bundok. Matindi po na earthquake yung na-mention. Yung sinasabi sa Matthew 24, hindi po yan ang connection sa nangyari sa panahon ngayon, dahil ang mga pangyayari ngayon, yun po ay nakabase lang po yan sa law of nature. So mayroon po tayong nature na mayroon may mga changes doon sa nature natin, at hindi po yan related sa Bible, yung mga nangyayari sa ngayon. Maraming mga preachers na ikinokonek nila noon pa. Noong 1990, ikinokonek nila na yun na yung propesiya, katuparan ng prophecy. Ito pong tandaan natin. Ang prophecy po, pag na-fulfilled, minsan lang. Ang propesiya, pag ito'y naganap, minsan lang, hindi pa ulit-ulit. O bakit pa ulit-ulit? May mga nag-prophesy na during World War II, World War I, ayun na yung sinasabi ng Biblia sa Matthew 24. Bakit malagi pa rin may war? Then, ang ginawa ng karamihan, continue pa rin yung kanilang interpretasyon. Pananakot. Nasasabihin, yun yung nasa Bible. Huwag kayong maniwala doon. Ang prophetic program ngayon ay nag-stop temporary nung ang Panginoon nag-revealed ng panibagong programa. Ano ba ang description ni Pablo sa panahon natin ngayon? Since we are not under the prophetic program, si Apostol Pablo, dinescribe niya ang mundo natin as evil. Anong sabi niya sa Galatians 1:4, who gave himself for our sins that he might deliver us from this present evil world. Ang mundo natin pasama ng pasama. Okay? Ang mundo natin ay pasama ng pasama. Pero walang kinalaman ang mga naririnig na earthquake na yun yung related doon sa Matthew 24, hindi po. Noon pa, marami ng earthquake noon pa. Kung propesiya yan yung nasa Matthew 24, dapat hindi na uulit. Ang prophecy, minsan lang yun. Hindi pa ulit-ulit. Tapos meron pang iba, nagpipredict na ito na yung sinasabi ng Biblia. Tinatakot yung mga tao. May mga preacher na nagpapanik. Hindi nila alam ang timeline. Hindi nila alam yung kailan nag-stop ang propesiya. Ulitin ko po, nag-stop ang prophecy nung ang Panginoon nag-open ng panibagong programa. Kaya after Acts 28, ano pong nangyari? That the salvation of God is sent unto the Gentiles. Panibagong programa po. Nandito po tayo sa panibagong programa. Hindi po tayo kasama doon sa old program, ang Panginoon nag-open ng panibagong programa na kanyang ipinagkatiwala kay Apostol Pablo. Kaya huwag kayong magpanik. Pag may mga naririnig na mga lindol or earthquake saan-saan, huwag kayong magpanik. Hindi po yan ay connected or related sa propesiya na sinasabi ng Biblia. Dahil ulitin ko po, walang kahit anong prophecy ngayon na matutupad habang nag-operate ang dispensation of grace. Walang propesiya na matutupad sa ngayon habang ang dispensation of grace ay nag-operate. Ang prophecy po, mayroong timeline, mayroong counting. Kaya nga mayroong 7 years. Sa prophecy po, may 7 years na kulang. 7 years na lang na kulang sa prophecy. At doon po mangyayari yung Mateo 24. Ngayon, ang 7 years ay nabawasan na ba dahil sa mga lindol na naririnig natin noon pa? Hindi pa po bawas ang 7 years. Bakit po? Habang nandito pa ang dispensation of grace, habang nandito pa, nag-operate pa ang programa, ang prophetic program hindi pa mag-operate. Kaya ang 7 years na kulang sa propesiya ay hindi pa bawas. 7 years pa rin hanggang ngayon. Kahit mga ilang lindol na naririnig, bagyo, kalamidad, na naririnig natin saan-saan, hindi pa rin bawas ang 7 years. Bakit po? Nag-stop ang programa ng propesiya nung ang Panginoon nag-open ng panibagong programa na kanyang ipinagkatiwala kay Apostol Pablo. Ang daming mga believers nagpanik. Hindi nila alam yung kanilang ginagawa. Nagpapanik kung ano-ano yung mga nasa isip. Huwag po tayong magpanik. Okay? Huwag tayong magpanik. Yan po ay part ng dinescribe ni Apostol Pablo na ang mundo natin ay masama. Pasama ng pasama. Pero hindi yan related sa prophecy. Okay? Hindi po yan, hindi connected sa propesya. Dahil ang programa ngayon ay walang kinalaman sa prophecy. We're under the dispensation of the grace of God. We're under the dispensation of the grace of God. Na kailangan po hindi tayo magpanik sa mga pangyayari, sa mga naririnig, nakikita. Kung alam nyo yung program ng Panginoon, dapat tayo establish po tayo at grounded po tayo sa katotohanan. Dapat doon tayo grounded. Hindi tayo basta na anong sabi dito sa Ephesians 4:14, that we henceforth be no more children tossed to and fro and carried about with every wind of doctrines by the sleight of men and cunning craftiness whereby and they lie wait to deceive. But speaking the truth in love may grow up into him in all things which is the head, even Christ. So hindi po basta-basta na tayo ay madaling malito, madaling ma-deceive, madaling ma-confuse sa mga naririnig. Wala po, dapat wala pong ganon. Okay? Anong sabi sa Colossians 2:7? Rooted and built up in Him and established in the faith, as ye have been taught, abounding therein with thanksgiving. Oh, yun yung kailangan natin, dapat establish tayo, rooted and built up in Him, and established in the faith. Yun yung isa, kailangan na settled yung ating sarili sa Panginoon. Kung may mga naririnig o anuman ang mga, yung iba nagpapasa ng mga, yung mga message na para matakot yung magbabasa. Ganun po yung ginagawa ng iba ay tinatakot lang yung mga tao dahil siya din ay takot. Yun yung mga indication ng mga preachers na nagpanik, nagpapasa ng mga verses na under the prophetic plan, program ng Panginoon, at ito'y ginagamit nila ngayon, pananakot, para ang tao ay matakot, naghasik ng fear. Hindi po yan ang message ngayon. Ang message ngayon is grace. Hindi po takot. Kaya napakahalaga na maunawaan natin yung ating Biblia at alam natin yung program ng Panginoon para makapag-encourage tayo sa iba. At hindi po sa ganong klaseng message na iparating natin na tatakutin, na ito yung sinasabi sa Matthew 24 na mga lindol o anuman ang mga kaguluhan. Noon pa yan. Hanggang ngayon ginagamit pa rin pananakot. Kung dapat hindi na mangyayari kasi noon pa ay may mga trahedya. Noon pa mayroon ng mga kalamidad at doon pa may mga nagpupropisay. Dapat hindi na nauulit. Dapat wala ng lindol, wala ng trahedya, wala ng gulo, wala na lahat. Ibig sabihin ba ang propesya paulit-ulit na nangyayari? Kung ito ay fulfilled na tapos nauulit na naman. Yun po yung pinupunto natin. Walang katotohanan yung mga naririnig natin na gumagamit ng scriptural reference sa kanilang assumption. Ang kawawa doon yung hindi nag-aral ng Bible. Ang kawawa doon yung mga walang alam sa Biblia. Natatakot, nagpapanik sila kung ano ang kanilang gagawin, hindi nila alam. Ulitin ko po, nasa panibagong programa tayo na ang Panginoon ay nag-open ng program sa pamagitan ni Apostol Pablo at sa kanya ipinagkatiwala ang dispensation of grace. Kaya we are under the dispensation of the grace of God. We are not under the law, but we are under grace ayon sa Romans 6:14. Tayo po, mga believers ngayon, ay naibilang doon sa programang patungkol sa langit. Hindi po tayo kabilang doon sa programang patungkol lang dito sa lupa. Mayroong program na may mga group of believers na mag-stay dito sa lupa forever. At mayroong group of believers na pupunta sa langit. At yung mga group na yan ay ang mga believers under the grace, under the dispensation of grace. At may mga believers na maninirahan forever dito sa lupa. Yun po yung mga believers under the prophetic program, under the kingdom program. At ang pinangakuhan ng Panginoon ang mga Israelites. Kaya nga babalik siya for the second time. Sinong paghaharian niya? Paghaharian niya Israel. Ang paghaharian niya ang bayang Israel dito sa lupa. Kaya nga ang Panginoon mag-create ng new earth para sa mga believers dito po sa earth. At God created new heaven. Yan po ay para sa mga believers na manirahan sa langit. Meron siyang dalawang program. Sa umpisa pa lang, God created heaven and earth. Genesis 1:1, may programa na siyang dalawa. May dalawa na siyang programa na nilikha. In Genesis 1:1, God created heaven, first program, and earth, second. So mayroon na siyang dalawang lugar na nilikha para sa dalawang group of believers. At yung programa na patungkol sa langit, ito po ay mystery at inirevealed lamang ng ating Panginoon kay Apostol Pablo. Na itong mystery na ito, hindi alam ng mga propeta noon pa. Hindi alam ng mga 12 apostol noon. Kasi pag alam nila, hindi na mystery yun, hindi na revelation of the mystery. Kaya yung sinasabi sa Ephesians chapter 3 verses 1 to 4, the revelation of the mystery was given unto me, referring to Apostle Paul. Siya pong pinagkatiwalaan. At ang programa ng Israel ay unti-unting nawala hanggang sa Acts 28:28. Kaya mapansin natin dun sa Acts 28:28 that the salvation of God is sent unto the Gentiles. Panibagong programa na ngayon. We're under the grace program. We are under the grace program. Hindi po tayo sakop o saklaw ng kingdom program or yung law program or prophetic program na yan po'y para sa Israel pero kanilang tinanggihan kaya hindi na natupad yung propesya. Ito po'y nag-stop temporary. Pero pagdating ng rapture or caught up, mag-resume ang prophetic program. Mag-resume after the rapture or caught up. Kaya kung makita nyo sa chart dyan, nasa gitna yung dispensation of grace at saka yung makikita nyo sa chart yung blue na magkabila, yun ay magkakasamang programa. Okay, yun ay magkakasamang programa. Time past and ages to come, yun yung magkakasamang programa. Pero yung but now ay ito po ay separate program. Ito po ay separate program. Kaya pagdating ng caught up or rapture, mag-close ang programa ng grace, then ang programa ng kingdom ay mag-resume, mag-connect ulit yan. And then yung counting ng prophecy ay tuloy. Kasi 7 years na lang ang kulang at matupad na ang propesya na ang Panginoon ay maghahari sa bayang Israel. Kaya sa Book of Acts, doon natin maunawaan unti-unti yung programa na may mga changes. Ang kingdom program ay may changes. Napansin nyo na mayroong changes. Pinag-aaralan natin na mayroon unti-unting pagbabago sa kingdom program hanggang inintroduce ang grace program sa pamagitan ni Apostol Pablo. Kaya dito sa Acts 12:1-24, the persecution rekindled at Jerusalem, and Herod persecutes Messiah's followers. Sino po yung mga Messiah's followers? Ito po yung kingdom believers. Now, about the time Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Ano pong ginawa nila sa Jerusalem? Pinatay sila. Ito ay sa time ni Herod. Si James pinatay, si Peter. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. And Peter therefore was kept in prison. Kasi talagang intention para sila'y papatayin, parurusahan. So may mga investigation na ginaganap, at ito po ang nangyari. Nahuli ang mga apostles at ikinulong, at isa nga dito si Pedro. But prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him. And when Herod would have brought him forth, the same night Peter was sleeping between 2 soldiers, bound with 2 chains, and the keepers before the door keep the prison. So, matindi po nung ikinulong itong si Pedro at ikinadena pa, binantayan pa ng mga, mayroon pa silang guard. And behold, the angel of the Lord came upon him, and a light shined in the prison. And he smote Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise up quickly. And his chains fell up from his hands. Instead na paparusahan, papatayin ni Herod itong mga apostles, kasi naman talagang intention niya na sila'y papatayin, ay ikinulong muna, and then kinagabihan, ano pong nangyari? Sila po ay nakalaya sa pamagitan ng angel. So, and the angel said unto him, Gird thyself and bind on thy sandals. And so he did, and he said unto him, Cast thy garments about thee, and follow me. And he went out and followed him, and wist not that it was true which was done by the angel, but thus he saw a vision. When they were past the first and the second ward, they came unto the iron gate that leadeth unto the city, which opened to them of his own accord. And they went out and passed on through one street. And forthwith the angel departed from him. And when Peter was come to himself, he said, Now I know of a surety that the Lord has sent his angel, and has delivered me out of the hands of Herod, and from all the expectations of the people of the Jews, according to Acts 12:1-11. Ngayon, napatay ba sila ni Herod? Hindi, dahil sila'y nakalaya. Pero ang intention actually, sila'y papatayin. Kaya sila ikinulong, and then waiting for the execution. Pero kinagabihan, ang iniligtas sila ng Panginoon sa pamagitan ng angel. So the murder of James, alamin natin, it seems strange at first sight that more than a chapter of the book of Acts is devoted to the martyrdom of the deacon Stephen, while only one verse is given to the martyrdom of the apostle James. If the book of Acts were no more than the inspired storybook that most Christians suppose it to be, this would be surely have been otherwise. For not only was James the first of the 12 apostles to die as a martyr, but his death broke up the famous trio of men closest to our Lord during his earthly ministry. And what a stunning blow then! His executions by the sword must have been to the Messianic Church, and what a story could have been written about it. Indeed, an early tradition cited. Ito po sa early tradition, according sa kanila kay Eusebius, that James accuser was himself converted through the apostles' conduct at his trial and was led out to execution, with him asking and receiving James' forgiveness on the way. But Acts is far more than a storybook of spiritual victories recorded to inspire and challenge us. It is rather the account of Israel's fall and of God's overruling grace. So Israel's fall and of God's overruling grace. Ito po yung transition na description. Nag-fall ang Israel, and then dispensation of grace. Nung unti-unting na-diminish, unti-unting na set aside ang programa ng Panginoon sa Israel, and then God's overruling grace and teaching us why the nation Israel has now been temporarily set aside in God's dealings. So tandaan po natin na temporarily set aside. Habang nag-operate ang dispensation of grace, ang Israel po ay temporarily set aside in God's dealings, and why salvation through the cross is now being offered to all men, apart from Israel and the covenant promises. Hindi nila pinaniniwalaan halos sa mga Israelites, kaya temporarily ay na-set aside ang dealings ng Panginoon sa kanila. And then, inoffer ang salvation para sa lahat, apart from Israel and the covenant promises. Balikan natin ang Matthew 2. We find Herod, the king, and Idumean, stretching forth his hands against Christ, the rightful king of Israel. Hindi nila alam yun na siya yung rightful king of Israel. Pero, ang ginawa ni Herod, alam naman natin sa Matthew chapter 2, ay gusto niyang patayin. Kaya nga para mamatay ang Mesias, hindi niya identified kung nasaan ang ipinanganak na hari, kaya nagdeklara siya ng yung papatayin lahat ang mga 2 years old pababa. Yun yung kanyang ginawang solusyon, nadamay pa yung iba. Pero mo yun, ang daming namatay na mga kabataan 2 years old pababa, kasi gusto niyang hindi mabuhay, hindi magiging hari yung ipinangako ng mga propeta noon pa man. So here we find another Herod the king stretching forth his hands against the followers of Israel's rightful king. So another Herod, iba yung sa Matthew chapter 2 ngayon, another Herod na ang kanyang pinaparusahan yung mga followers ng ating Panginoon. Mark, while Herod does not stretch forth his hands against the Jews, he stretches forth his hands against certain of the church, and sad to say, Israel is pleased to have it so. She prefers the reign of this part Edomite to that of her own Messiah. Hence, God answers Israel's apostasy by further departures from the program outlined for the establishment of Messiah's kingdom on earth. So the Edomites, the descendants of Esau, were Israel's hereditary enemies. Noon pa man, di ba? Itong mga Edomites, noon pa, kung balikan nyo yung ating lesson sa Nahum, yung during sa Ninevites, instead na tumulong itong mga Edomites dahil sila yung isa sa mga kapatid ni Jacob kung tutuusin, pero sila po ay hindi nila ginawa dahil sila po ay talagang enemies na, kaaway na ng Israel. Indeed, Herod's right to the throne was forfeited by the mere fact that he was not of the royal Davidic line, nor even a full Israelite, according to Deuteronomy 17:15. After the murder of Stephen in chapter 7, ano pong nangyari? The intense persecution of Messiah's followers in chapter 8, we have the conversion and commissions of Paul as another apostle separate from the 12. Ito po, makita niyo na, chapter 7, the murder, nangyari po yung murder kay Stephen, and then after that, yung mga persecution sa mga followers ng ating Panginoon. Pagdating sa the following chapter, itong persecutor na si Saul ay na-convert, at ano pong ginawa? Ano pong nangyari doon sa persecutor? Siya po'y ginawang preacher sa mga hintel at apostle separate from the 12 apostles. Acts chapter 22, 14-15 and Acts 26, 16-18, kung babasahin niyo po dyan, doon nyo malaman na itong si Pablo ay pinili, separate apostol, separate doon sa mga 12 apostol, at mayroon siyang special mission na siya ay tinawag para sa mga Gentiles. At ito yung isang good news nga para sa atin, dahil ang Panginoon pumili ng apostol para sa atin, na kung tutuusin, wala tayong apostol. Kung tutuusin, wala tayong apostol dahil ang 12 apostol ay pinili para sa 12 tribo ng Israel. So, yun pa lang masasabi natin na that's the grace of God. That's the grace of God. Bakit? Tayong mga hintel na walang apostol, binigyan tayo ng apostol. Diba grace ng Panginoon yun para sa atin? Tayo na kung tutuusin, mahirap makakasumpong ng kaligtasan, pero ang ginawa ng Panginoon, nagbigay siya ng apostol para ipangaral ang gospel of grace, na kung sino ang maniniwala ay masaved by His grace. Yun yung dapat nating i-consider. So the first departure from the prophetic kingdom plan and the first step in the ushering in of a new dispensation. Nabanggit natin kanina na si Apostol Pablo ang binigyan, sa kanya inirevealed ang dispensation of grace, yung new dispensation. We are under a new dispensation, the dispensation of the grace of God. And then upon returning to Jerusalem and hoping that his testimony for Christ will turn the tide in Israel, Paul is told by the Lord. Ano sabi sa Acts 22:18? Make haste and get thee quickly out of Jerusalem. Sinabihan siya ng Panginoon na lumabas out of Jerusalem. For they will not receive thy testimony concerning me. Kaya siya ay pinalabas sa Jerusalem dahil kahit anong gagawin niya doon sa mga Israelites, hindi po siya paniniwalaan. After this, in chapter 10, Peter, by a special vision, is sent to preach Christ to Gentiles, not because Israel has accepted Christ and the next step in the Great Commission can now be carried out, but because Israel has persisted in her rejection of Christ, and God is now to bless the Gentiles apart from her. Regarding this experience, Peter simply explains in Acts 11:17, "What was I that I could withstand God?" Another departure from the kingdom program takes place as Cornelius and his household received the Holy Spirit without having first been baptized. Acts 10:44-48. At yung compare natin sa Acts 2:38. Sa Acts 2:38, kailangang bautismon para maligtas. Pero sa chapter 11, hindi na po ganun yung description. And Mark 16:15-16, Peter and his brethren are astonished at this change in procedure. Change in procedure. Bakit po? Mayroon na ngang changes kasi ito ay under na sa transitional period. Kaya magtaka talaga itong mga apostles dahil hindi naman yun ang lagi nilang ginagawa, pero may instruction na ito na. So magtaka sila doon sa procedure, bakit nagbago? Acts 10:45. But learn by it that God is now putting no difference between the Jews and the Gentiles in the matter of salvation, purifying the Gentiles' hearts by faith in Acts 15:9. Kaya pala, hindi naunawaan ng mga apostles na ang nangyari, ginawa ng Panginoon na ang Jews and Gentiles ay wala ng pagkakaiba. Pero sila ay nagulat dahil bakit na ganito ang procedure, hindi naman ito yung dati. And then later on, naunawaan lang din nila. Pero nga, nagtaka sila doon sa procedure dahil hindi na yon yung ginagawa nila dati. Pero actually, God is now putting no difference between the Jew and the Gentile in the matter of salvation. So in chapter 11, another phase of the kingdom program disappears as it becomes necessary for the Gentile believers at Antioch to send material relief to the church at Jerusalem, of which it was once said, "Neither was there any among them that lacked." In Acts 4:34-35 and Acts 11:27-30. And then yung sa chapter 12, we have next to the raising up of Paul himself, the greatest indication of all that the earthly establishments of the kingdom is to be held abeyance, as the apostle James is killed with the sword. Ayan, so ano pong nangyari? The earthly establishment of the kingdom is to be held in abeyance. Temporary po yan. Okay? Na ano muna, na nagkaroon ng parenthesis. Nagkakaroon ng parenthesis, nagkakaroon ng pagtemporaring pag-stop sa programa, sa establishments of the kingdom. So, yan yung isa pa na mga palatandaan, mga senyales na ang kingdom program ay unti-unting nagbabago at nawawala. We have seen how Lord had promised the 12 apostles that they should occupy 12 thrones in the kingdom and should reign with him over the 12 tribes of Israel, diba? Sa Matthew 19:28, ang pangako ng Panginoon dapat pag naghari ang Panginoon, ang 12 tribes, sila yung mag-occupy doon sa throne, 12 thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Paano sila makapag-occupy na pinatay naman yung isa, si James? Nakita niyo yung indication? So, hindi pwede. Yun yung patunay na may pagbabago. May mga changes na nangyari. So, kulang kung maghahari ang Panginoon, that time, halimbawa, ay may kulang dahil si James na isang apostle ay pinatay. So, dito sa puntong ito, dapat nilang maunawaan na may changes. May pagbabago po. We have seen how the number was brought up to 12 again after Judas' fall by the appointments of Matthias, and how God sanctions the appointment. Acts 1:15-26 and chapter 2 verse 4. We have further seen how at Pentecost, Peter standing up with the 11 appealed to Israel to repent and receive her Messiah in Acts 2. And how God protected and sustained the 12 in the midst of the most violent persecutions, so that even when all the other believers had to flee from Jerusalem for their lives, and the 12 alone remained in the city, divinely protected. Diba? During the first half of the book of Acts, protected ang mga apostles, di ba? Ang Panginoon nag-intervene, iniligtas sila, pinotektahan sila ng ating Panginoon during that time nung nag-operate ang kingdom program. But now, one of the 12 is slain. Sino si James? So, nakita nyo, nawala yung di ba? Dapat protektahan kasi apostle ng Panginoon, pero pinatay. Pero, before that, the first part of the book of Acts, protected lahat yung mga apostles. Pero sa puntong ito, makikita na natin yung may mga pagbabago sa programa. Ayan, hindi na sila buong 12. Unti-unti na silang nawawala. Unti-unti silang namamatay. And so, now, one of the 12 is slain. Nor can any attempt be made to replace him by another. For he, unlike Judas, has a legitimate claim to one of the 12 thrones. Thus it becomes evident that the kingdom is not yet to be established on earth, and that a new dispensation has already begun. So yun yung patunay na hindi talaga mangyayari ma-establish yung kingdom dahil yung mga apostles unti-unti na silang nawawala, namamatay. Ang pangako sa kanila ng Panginoon ay maghahari habang sila naman ay uupo sa 12 thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Dapat kumplito. So yun yung isa na indication na talagang matagal pa na na-postpone yung establishments of the kingdom. Thus it becomes evident that the kingdom is not yet to be established on earth, and that a new dispensation has already begun. As God removes His protecting hand from one of the 12 and allows Herod the king to slay him with the sword. Na picture nyo na ba? Wala na yun yung protecting hand ng Panginoon doon sa mga 12 apostol, pero inalaw ng Panginoon na sa pamagitan ni Herod, itong one of the 12 ay mamatay. Ngayon, yung time na ito ay nag-operate na yung dispensation of the grace of God. Na ano nyo na i-picture nyo ba yung scenario? So meanwhile, the depth of Israel's declension is seen in the fact that the Jews are pleased with Herod for killing James, though those of that day probably did not yet understand this. Hindi nila naunawaan syempre that time. Ngayon, yung the imprisonment of Peter, balik tayo doon. It appears that this Herod who killed James was Herod Agrippa the First, the grandson of Herod the Great. Itong si Herod Agrippa the First, and who had slain the children of Bethlehem, the nephew and brother-in-law of Herod Antipas, the tetrarch of Galilee, who had beheaded John the Baptist, and the brother of Herodias, who had asked for John's head and had lived in adultery with Herod Antipas. From the account in Acts 12, it is clear that the present Herod was no less depraved than his royal relatives. His Samaritan wicked uncle, called that fox by our Lord, had spared John the Baptist's head for a time only because he feared the Jews over whom he reigned in Matthew 14:3-5. Now this present Herod, no less wily and wicked, slays James with the sword, evidently to please the Jews. And when he sees that it does please the Jews, he proceeds further to take Peter also in Acts 12:3. He will increase his own popularity as king. He thinks by bringing Peter to public trial and execution. O, diba na pinatay na niya si James, at next naman na si Peter, dahil sa kanyang intensyon na maging popular by executing Peter doon sa public, yung public execution. Yun mostly ginagawa ng mga emperor noon. Thus Herod had Peter arrested and put in prison. Ilang beses na nakulong itong si Peter doon sa time pa rin ni Herod. Si James ay ikinulong at then pinatay, and then hinuli ulit, inaresto ulit nila si Pedro at ikinulong. At actually ang purpose para patayin din katulad ni James. Very possibly the same prison he had been committed to before. One would wonder why, in addition to being locked in a cell, 4 quaternions of soldiers were needed to guard him, and may marami siyang guard. Talagang binantayan na ito, baka makalabas ulit itong si Peter. But it was probably well known that on a previous occasions when Peter was supposed to have been in prison, he was found in the temple preaching instead, while the officers who had been sent to bring him to court explained in Acts 5:23, "The prison truly found we shut with all safety, and the keeper standing without before the doors, but when we had opened, we found no man within." So, ganun ulit ang nangyayari. This time, Herod would make sure that no such escape was possible. Kasi nung last, nakaligtas siya. Nakalabas siya nung last. So, he would have 2 guards at a time locked in the cell with Peter and 2 sentinels standing guard without. This precaution seems the more necessary because Herod, making sure not to displease the Jews by profaning a holy feast, had decided to wait until afterward to try Peter, intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people in Acts 12:4. Mark well, the one notes of whom in the record intending the name by which the heathen referred to the Passover. Verse 5, Peter therefore was kept in prison. So we wonder whether his experience brought back to his mind the boast he had once made. And babasahin lang natin yung Matthew 26:35. Though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee, or will lay down my life for thy sake. And in John 13:37, if it did, we know he was ready to make good that boast now, for he had nobly accounted for himself since the base denial of his master sometime before. So, alam naman natin yung background ni Peter, yung hinuli ang Panginoon at papatayin, at ito idininay ni Pedro, hindi niya dinipinsan. So alam natin yun, yung story regarding doon. So yet he may also have remembered that Lord's prediction, when thou shalt be old, thou shalt stretch forth thy hands, and another shall gird thee and carry thee whither thou wouldest not, in John 21:18, and have felt confident that his execution could not yet possibly take place. Mayroong praying church. So habang ang mga apostles lang, si Peter nasa prison, may tinatawag praying church. Kumbaga nananalangin kay Pedro, o nananalangin doon sa mga nakakulong na mga believers. Peter therefore was kept in prison, but verse 5, a glorious but and with it a precious lesson for us all. There are times in the believer's experience when the outlook is so dark and hopeless that it is perfectly evident that there is nothing whatever to do but to cry directly and only to Him who controls all. This was such a time. Appeals to the wicked king would do no good, nor is there any evidence that Peter's friends took any measures to influence him in Peter's behalf. Verse 5, but prayer was made without ceasing of the church unto God for him. Ganun po yung ginagawa. Talagang mayroon silang prayer. Pinapanalangin po nila yung nangyari. Dito sa tinatag na miraculous demonstrations of the Pentecostal era have now passed away. Wala na yung ganun talaga eh. Kumbaga sa transition, unti-unting na-diminish, unti-unting nawawala na yung kakayanan na nangyayari noon. Kaya dito po yung Pentecostal power, Pentecostal era have now passed away, but God is no less interested in us when we cry to Him in times of extremity, nor any less able to help us in time of need, even though He chooses to help in what we might call providential ways, rather than by direct intervention in the affairs of man. But while Peter's friends are praying without ceasing, yun yung nasa yung praying church doon sa verse 5. Talagang pinapanalangin itong si Pedro through that Passover week. Unquestionably, they are praying for his deliverance, though in a submissions to the will and wisdom of God, they may also have prayed that if it was necessary for Peter to die, he might bear a worthy testimony. But the seeming futility of their prayers for deliverance is strikingly brought out in the record as we find Peter dito po, on the same night with the time for his trial and execution. Diba na nga siya paparusahan na siya, papatayin na siya, execute na siya ni King Herod. On the same night with the time for his trial and execution almost up, sleeping between two soldiers, bound with two chains, probably bound to the soldiers and the keepers before the door, and the first and the second wards of the prison lying beyond in verse 10. Matindi po, talagang nakaklose lahat yan. Yung main gate, ano yan, iron. Talagang hindi basta-basta makakalabas. It speaks well for Peter that he could sleep at such a time, but it certainly did not add hope of deliverance to the picture. But the same night, when Herod would have brought him forth, an angel of the Lord entered his prison, but note again all that was involved in and fully rousing Peter from his sleep. A light shined in the prison, and he smote Peter on the side and roused him, saying, "Arise up quickly." And his chains fell off. And the angel said unto him, "Gird thyself and bind on thy sandals." And he said, "Cast thy garment about thee and follow me." And he went out and wished not that it was true, but thought he saw a vision. So parang ganun lang ang ano niya yung scenario na experience ni Peter. So indeed, Peter had slept so soundly that it was not until they had passed the first and the second ward, had come to the iron gate, which opened to them of his own accord, and had walked through wide streets, and the angel had disappeared. So, nakalaya ba si Peter? Yes. Tinulungan siya ng angel. May matindi yung, kumbaga, pinag-pray siya. Mayroong church na nag-pray sa kanya during Passover, at ito po ay nangyari, sinagot ng Panginoon. Nakalabas siya sa prison na hindi nalaman, hindi na naramdaman ng mga guard. Thus Peter was spared for a time. Papatay na sana siya Yun yung execution niya. Katulad ni James na execute, at siya yung next. And he still had an important role to play. So in the purpose of God and the setting aside of Israel and the recognition of Paul as the apostle of the new dispensation. Diba? After that, nagkita sila ni Pedro at ni Paul. May time silang nagkita. So, answered prayer ang tawag doon. Diba? According to Acts 12:16, and when he had considered the thing, he came to the house of Mary, the mother of John, whose surname was Mark, where many were gathered together praying. And as Peter knocked at the door of the gate, the damsel came to hearken, named Rhoda. And when she knew Peter's voice, she opened not the gates for gladness, but ran in, and told how Peter stood before the gate. And they said unto her, "Thou art mad." But she constantly affirmed that it was even so. Then said they, "It is his angel." But Peter continued knocking, and when they had opened the door and saw him, they were astonished. So, prayer and the sovereignty of God. So, kanina, answered prayer. Pinapanalangin sila si Peter ng mga nasa church, at sinagot ng Panginoon, at meron pa, prayer and the sovereignty of God. So, in the case of Peter and his praying friends, we have a good example of what prayer was meant to be and to accomplish. So, may mga, ayon sa mga theologians who have gone to one-sided extremes on the doctrines of God's absolute sovereignty, have frequently found their arguments used by unbelievers as a means to ridicule the practice of prayer. So, according to the one-sided theologians, if God has everything planned beforehand, they say, and works all things after the counsel of his own will. How foolish these Christians are to pray. Do they think they can change the mind of God? Diba, alam niyo yung one-sided extremes theologians? Kumbaga, alam na, program na ng Panginoon, kahit anong prayer ng mga Christian daw, hindi na pwedeng baguhin kung ano yung iniisip ng Panginoon. So, yun yung one-sided na mga theologians. Those who argue thus, of course, fail to understand that God has instituted the practice of prayer not, first of all, as a means of obtaining things from Him, but rather that we might in this way be drawn into closer fellowship with Him. Moreover, His plans were made with the interest of His people in view. Hence, we read not only that God works all things after the counsel of His own will, Ephesians 1:11, but also that He works all things out for good to them that love Him, to them who are the called according to His purpose in Romans 8:28. God is sovereign, alam natin yan. To be sure, and does indeed work all things after the counsel of His own will. But we must not conclude from this that His acts are arbitrary and unreasoned, or that love and mercy have no place in them. God does not manipulate us as machine. Wala pong ganon, kasi may mga teaching na ang dating yung mga believers ay parang mga robot, minamanipulate ng Panginoon. Hindi po ganon, mali na katuruan po yan, na ang dating na ang tao ay naging robot, parang robot na minamanipulate ng Panginoon. So hindi po. He loves us and desires our love in return. Our love and faith, our prayers and thanksgiving, all have a place in His great plan, even though He has already, according to His foreknowledge, planned to grant some specific deliverance of victory, and we do not know this, and He would have us come to Him in prayer, so that He might grant the deliverance or victory as an answer to our prayer. So ganun po yung scenario. Kaya the deliverance of Peter is a case in point, as we have seen our Lord had already predicted that Peter would live to be an old man in John 21:18. Mayroon sinabi ang Panginoon sa John 21:18 na was already predicted that Peter would live to be an old man. So hindi kaya nung time ng kanyang mission na siya nakulong, hindi inalaw ng Panginoon na siya mamamatay na hindi pa yung time. Thus Herod's plan to put him to death at this time could not succeed. Hindi nangyari yun. Okay? Perhaps this is why Peter slept so soundly that night before he was to have been executed. May nakatulog pa siya. I-execute na siya, no? Relax lang siya. Nakatulog at yung lumabas siya ay parang panaginip lang. Siguro yung iba, anong sasabing, i-execute na kita mamaya, hindi makakatulog. Pero itong si Peter, sarap ng tulog niya. At parang nanaginip lang siyang lumabas doon sa kulungan. Di ba? So, may prediction na siya mamuhay, marating niya ang mamuhay siya na umabot siya sa pagiging old or maging matanda. It has been said that had Peter's praying friends believed in John 21:18, they would all have been home and asleep instead of praying for his deliverance, but we must not assume that they knew of this prediction by our Lord, or that they remembered or understood it if they had once heard of it. Certainly, there is no intimation in the record of this story that they had any knowledge of this promise. Whatever the case may be, God did answer their prayer as well as fulfill His own purpose. Kaya na ito ay nangyayari during the transitional period, during the transition na mayroong ganon na pangyayari. Ang ganda po yung scenario na ganon. Si Peter ay iniligtas ng Panginoon sa pamagitan ng angel. So, ibig sabihin, that time ay meron pang mga ministering spirit, yung mga angels. Yan. So, may mga record pa na may mga angels na inutusan ang Panginoon para i-rescue ang mga apostles, at isa nga dito si Pedro. So mayroong purpose ang Panginoon sa kanyang buhay sa puntong ito during that period of time. So mayroon namang faith and unbelief. It is strange how faith can be mingled with unbelief in the human heart. Certainly, it was faith in God that led the church to cry to Him without ceasing for Peter's deliverance. Certainly, it was faith that kept Peter's friends praying day after day, so that almost at the last moment, we still find many gathered together praying at the house of Mary, John Mark's mother. So, ito pong ginagawa nila nung nakulong si Peter ay everyday pinapanalangin nila si Peter. And yet now, what unbelief they display, all except one as Peter stand and knocks at the door. Oh, nandun na nga, parang hindi pa sila naniniwala na sinagot na yung prayer nila. Kaya faith and unbelief ang nangyari. Hindi pa sila sigurado na pinapanalangin nila na makalabas, pero nung nandun na, hindi pa sila naniniwala. Ayan yung faith and unbelief. And all except as once Peter stands and knocks at the door. The exception is damsel named Rhoda, as she had gone to answer the door of the gate. So, itong young lady, siya lang ang pumunta doon. Ibig sabihin, maraming nakakarinig, hindi pumunta. Nagduda pa sila na kung si Pedro ba yun. Yan yung faith and unbelief. Hindi sila agad naniniwala na si Peter na pala yun. And when she knew Peter's voice, she opened. Sinong nakarecognize? Yung damsel, si Rhoda. And she opened not the gate for gladness, but ran in and told how Peter stood before the gate in verse 14. Siyempre alam nila kung ano yung sitwasyon niya sa kulungan, pero papaano siya nakalabas. Hindi nila ikinoconsider na nananalangin sila, everyday silang nananalangin at sinagot ng Panginoon yung prayer nila, at yung nandoon na nga nakalabas na si Peter, hindi sila agad naniniwala. Kaya faith and unbelief. Yan po ay sa verse 15. So dito po mapapansin natin na maraming mga pagbabago sa programa ng ating Panginoon sa Kingdom Program, hanggang later on ay na-introduce ang Grace Program sa pamamagitan ni Apostle Paul later on. Kaya during the transitional period, may dalawang program na nag-operate. Yun pong tandaan natin habang nangangaral ang mga apostles. Unti-unti silang nabawasan yung mga apostles, pero nangangaral pa rin sila. Unti-unting nawawala ang programa ng kingdom nung nagsimula na ipinangaral ni Apostol Pablo ang Grace Program. So, kailangan maunawaan po natin yan. Pero after Acts 28, kinunclude na Acts 28, sinasabi doon, "Be it known unto you therefore that the salvation of God is sent unto the Gentiles." Inayawan na ng tinanggihan ng mga Israelites yung message, yung mensahe. So anong nangyari kay Herod? Yung pumatay sa ibang apostles at huli kay Peter. And Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Sidon, but they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus the king's chamberlain, their friend desired peace because their country was nourished by the king's country. And upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration unto them. And the people gave a shout, saying, "It is the voice of God, and not of man." Sinabi pa ni Herod. Anong nangyari kay Herod? "And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not God the glory. And he was eaten of worms, and gave up the ghost. But the word of God grew and multiplied," in Acts 12:20-24. So namatay si Herod dahil nilalait niya ang Panginoon. So ganun po katindi, hindi pwedeng laitin ang Panginoon that time. So agad itong si Herod ay namatay. Siyempre yung nag-operate yung kingdom program, nag-operate yung programa na kung saan ang Panginoon pwede nilang pwede nilang nakakausap, at kung may mga gumagamit sa pangalan ng Panginoon that time na sa walang kabuluhan o anuman ang kanilang ginagawa na hindi pag-acknowledge sa Panginoon, ay agad parurusahan. At ganun po ang nangyari kay King Herod. So, anong nangyari sa Israel? Israel's growing apostasy. So, tuloy-tuloy pa rin kahit ganun ang ginagawa, ipinapangaral ang ebanghelyo, pero ang Israel ay pa rin, hindi pa rin sila talagang naniniwala. It is evident from the record in Acts that Herod's speech was delivered not merely to the prince of Tyre and Sidon, but to the general public, and the fact that the throng in Jerusalem could extol this false king of the Jews as a god. And while continuing to reject their own Messiah, indicates that lengths to which Israel's apostasy had gone. Instead of acknowledging that Jesus Christ was their Messiah, ano pong ginawa nila? Pinalitan nila ng iba. Pinalitan nila ng iba, kaya dito sa puntong ito ay malinaw na talagang tinanggihan nila ang Panginoon. Ganun po ang talagang nangyayari. Okay, so sana po mayroon kayong mga natutunan dito sa chapter na ito, sa chapter 12, regarding sa kay Peter. Okay, regarding doon kay sa persecution rekindled at Jerusalem, and Herod persecutes Messiah's followers. So, ang dami po ng mga nangyayari hanggang pinatay ng Panginoon si Herod dahil sa kanyang pagpapahirap sa mga followers ng ating Panginoon during that period of time. Okay po, so hanggang dito na lang ang ating presentation. Maraming salamat po.